Hey, this is Bernie Borges. I am the CEO of Social Business Engine, and welcome to Poolside Sales Chat, episode 13, lucky number 13. And today I'm going to cover a pretty difficult topic in the area of sales. I'm going to talk about how you can reach the unreachable. It's a tough topic, and this is a topic that's actually been around in B2B sales forever. If you think about B2B sales before the digital age, it was no different. We're going to talk about ethical ways to reach them. So B2B sales, reaching people in B2B sales has always been challenging at some level. So what I want to do is I want to start by identifying the two categories of the people that you might try to reach that are unreachable. The first category is executives, busy executives. And it doesn't matter the industry, it doesn't matter what age. Executives can be in their 20s or in their 60s. It doesn't matter. But they can be very hard to reach. So, in the old days, before digital, making it really difficult to reach was because there were gatekeepers, literally gatekeepers in the way of executive assistants and administrative assistants, and people who basically were just the gatekeepers. Today, the most common gatekeepers are email and voicemail. How's that working for you when you send an email or you make a phone call and you try to reach someone? It's really difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a couple of ways that you can try to reach the unreachable, starting with the executive. So obviously, we're here to talk about some social selling, but not just limited to social selling. So imagine this. You've got an executive that you want to reach. So set up a good old-fashioned Google alert and track what they're doing. If there's any kind of press releases, you'll get it in the Google alert. So by tracking what they're doing through a Google alert, you can learn what they're up to, what kind of accomplishments they have, and say they're speaking at a speaking event. Well, then you'll know that. So let's take that example. Let's say they're speaking at an event, at a conference. So now you know that she's going to be at this event. So if you do your homework, if you're following her online, if you have set up a Google alert, you're going to know the kind of projects and initiatives, charities she's involved in, maybe her career, that kind of thing. You're going to know that about her. So if you know that she's speaking at an event because of the Google alerts and the fact that you've been following her, that potentially gives you an opportunity to either show up at the event if you can, and if you show up, it's an opportunity for you to actually go up and introduce yourself to her. Now make sure you've got a nice little 5-second well-rehearsed introduction, because that's about all you're going to get is to break through in that introduction, and look for ways to bridge to a follow-up conversation. Now, online, what you can be doing is you can be looking for her network. Every executive surrounds himself or herself with a trusted advisor network. So use LinkedIn and use the social channels to identify who her trusted network is. And then look for opportunities to engage with them authentically and leverage those engagements as a path to this buyer, so that if you do get an opportunity to meet her or speak with her, you've done your homework and you know exactly the kinds of things that you can use as an icebreaker in that conversation. So you've got to use real good judgment and discretion, because again, you're only going to get 5 seconds if you're going to make that first impression, even if it's in a phone call or even in an email. But hold that thought on an email. I'm going to give you a thought on email. So that was the first type of person who's hard to reach, an executive, a busy executive. I want to talk about the second type now, and that is what I call the digitally invisible person. Doesn't matter if he or she's an executive, and honestly, it doesn't even matter their age. Again, it can be 20-something, 60-something, anything even in between. So the digitally invisible person sometimes is digitally invisible on purpose so that you in B2B sales can't reach that person. That's the reality. Now, sometimes the digitally invisible person is that way because they're a throwback and they're just not active online. So in that scenario, you really have to work a little harder using influencer software tools, like BuzzSumo and Cred and Cloud and Follower Wonk and Little Bird, Tap Influence Tracker, just to name a half a dozen or so. Take one of those software products, those influencer tracking products, and try to see who, even if your person is digitally invisible, they probably exist somewhere. They just may not be active. So use one of these tools to actually identify who that path is, who that trusted advisor network is, and likewise, look for opportunities to engage with them, build relationships with them, and then connect with them, and then look for that opportunity to engage. All right, the third way that you can try to reach someone who is someone who's unreachable. I almost said digitally invisible. The third way, and this is something that I've only done a few times, I've been on the receiving end of this, and I have to tell you, it really got my attention. So here it is. Using email, which we all know, oftentimes email can go into a black hole when you're trying to email someone who is unreachable. Create a video, a very short video, that's between maybe 15 and 60 seconds long. Personalize it. So if you were sending it to me, you'd use my name, you might say something about my poolside sales chats, whatever. Create a very short video personalized to the individual, using their name, saying something about their scenario, and then asking for some kind of a meeting. In fact, you might even take the pressure off them and say, can you set up a meeting with someone on your team? If you've done your homework, you might even name that person and ask for a meeting with someone on his or her staff. And then if that executive, that person agrees to it, then he or she has just empowered that person on their staff to meet with you. But by sending a personalized video, you break away from the clutter. Now, of course, they still have to open it. I get that. But that's just another way that you might actually reach the unreachable. Now, let me just throw out one more idea to you. And this is one I've mentioned before, and I cringe a little bit when I mention this. I get a little nervous that you might misunderstand or misconstrue it. And that is that even the digitally invisible person oftentimes has a presence on Facebook, whether it's their personal profile, maybe even a page, like a public figure page. Now, if it's a public figure, then there's should be lots of information there. But if it's just a personal profile, using extreme discretion and a lot of common sense, learn what you can learn about the individual by whatever's posted on Facebook. Do not use it as an automatic, icebreaker in conversation, unless you know something about them, maybe you've met them before, whatever. If you've got a circumstance where you're very comfortable, very confident that you can say, hey, I noticed that, last weekend you were playing golf, at such and such location. If you're comfortable doing that for your scenario, then do it. All I'm saying is use common sense, because that can work against you. My general guideline, because every situation is going to be unique, my general guideline is that you learn what you can learn about them. Maybe you learn that this individual likes live theater, and maybe that's an opportunity for you to go, okay, he or she likes live theater. I'm going to send them tickets to some great performance that's in their city, and then just use that as an icebreaker, as some way for them to remember me and know that I stand out, with a little handwritten note that says, hey, I'm just thinking about you. I know you like live theater. Enjoy this on me. And the next time you have a need for blankety blank, which is what I do, that blankety blank, please think of me. At least you've gotten on their radar. So just a few tips and ideas on how to reach the unreachable. Again, these are just a few. There's many, many others out there. I invite you to share some of those ideas. So you can go to our blog, socialbusinessengine.com. There'll be a blog post on this. Chime in with your own ideas. This is also, of course, on YouTube. Leave your comments there. And of course, I'm active on Twitter at Bernie Borges. Social Business Engine is at SB Engine. So that is it for today. This is Bernie Borges, CEO of Social Business Engine, wishing you continued sunshine. Even though we don't have it today, I still want sunshine in your life. See ya.